Welcome back to GoJo and Golic. I'm Jesse Cofield. Kirk Cousins and the Vikings not off to the greatest start in 2023. Kirk himself, 708 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception so far in the regular season. But if you think about that, we have some 2023 season projections throughout 17 games. He's on track for 51 passing touchdowns. He's on track for 748 pass attempts, 6,018 pass yards. The record, by the way, pass attempts, 733 by Brady last season. And then for passing yards, record 5,477 by Peyton Manning in 2013. So this season remains to be seen what's going to happen here. But the guys had a chance to catch up with Kirk Cousins and talk to him about their season outlook. Let's take a look.
All right, very excited to welcome to the program Vikings all-everything quarterback and all-around good guy that I think the world got to know in the quarterback Netflix documentary, especially Kirk Cousins, kind enough to come spend some time with us in the show today. Kirk, thank you so much for joining us, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. My pleasure, guys. Good to catch up with you.
Great to have you on. And first off, I got to ask, in a world of playing football and then being in the media and being around cameras a lot and then seeing what you did with that documentary, how intrusive was it to have cameras following you around as long as they did?
Well, it wasn't too bad. NFL Films were the ones kind of handling it, and they do such a good job following players around all the time. So it was kind of, same old for them. And, we picked our spots where they were going to be at a practice or in a meeting or around the family, but it wasn't every day, all day. And so I thought it was really cool to capture that content and have it for, my boys someday, because they're 6 and 4. So they're still a little bit young to remember it all. So, it helped to win 13 games and have a great season, win our division. We picked a good year to do it.
Any part of that got filmed where your wife said, no, that's not getting in there?
Well, they did give us the ability to kind of, X out anything we didn't feel comfortable with. And I was probably the one, more around the football saying, hey, that needs to be in or this should be taken out. My wife was actually very wanting to be away from it. So we had to really twist her arm to do a sit-down interview. She kind of wanted to follow me and not have them follow her. And so late in the process, we kind of finally got her to sit down and do an interview. And then she ended up being kind of the star of the show. So it was funny how that worked. And moving forward now, she's going to get a lot more requests, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think everyone now knows to give her credit for anything you wear from here on out. Since I think like a lot of married men, people found out like, hey, he's smart enough to listen to his wife when she tells him what to put on before the game. So that was a ton of fun to watch, Kirk. And you mentioned the good season you guys had last year. Obviously, been off to a less than stellar start for you guys, even though you personally have played incredible. How do you balance that knowing, hey, you're going out there and putting up great numbers and performing really well, but the record hasn't reflected that yet?
Well, this league's all about winning, and that's really what it boils down to. We got to find a way to win, and in our case, the way the season's played out, it just isn't that difficult. We turned the ball over 7 times. Our turnover differential is -6. End of story. There just isn't a lot more that you have to go fix. You can have a lot of good things going for you, but if you're turning the ball over 7 times, you're probably going to lose. And that's where we find ourselves now at 0-2. So pretty straightforward to know how to fix it, and we just got to go out and do it.
While we as talking heads talk about these things now, do you guys as a team look at what are the stats of teams that are 0-2 that make the playoffs?
I haven't looked at that personally. I know that I've been 1-5 before, and we ended up being a game away at the end of the year from being in the playoffs. And when I first came into the league, only 6 teams got in from each conference, but now it's 7. And so again, you have another opportunity to get in, and it's still so early, and we know that the next 15 games are really going to determine the season more than the first 2. But that's no excuse for not winning football games. We got to get back on track.
You mentioned what this league's all about, your past there. So many people still like to bring up the primetime narrative and the things around your career. Does that bother you? Is that something that still kind of eats at you to hear people in the media, despite that being disproven largely?
Well, I think you just got to look at your own production and say, hey, I'm a part of this team. I'm not the whole team, and I've got to do my part. And, in games where I don't play as well as I should have, I've got to go back and address it. But in games where I feel like, hey, I'm seeing coverage, I'm going through my reads, I'm well prepared, I'm executing what the coach are asking me to do. And yeah, we didn't, come out with a win, but I feel like I'm getting better and playing well as a quarterback. I think, at times you can put your head on the pillow at night and feel good about your contribution. So it's a little of both, and you just want to make sure that more often than not, you're going home feeling good about the level you're playing at.
One of the things that comes along with being the level of athlete and quarterback, especially that you get talked about the good, the bad, and the rumor. And all of a sudden it's out there, the trade. Oh, do we trade? Does this team trade for Kurt or that team trade for Kurt? How do you deal with that? I'm really on a personal level.
Well, first of all, you kind of just stay insulated and go about your business. All the TVs in our practice facility, we have tuned to hunting channels and the golf channel and the tennis channel. We're not really trying to listen for the hot takes and the news story of the day around the league. So some of that's just the insulation and ignoring the noise, as we say. But inevitably, you're going to hear things. And really, I'm just so busy getting ready for the next opponent, the Chargers. I love playing for Minnesota, and so that's really where my focus lies. And it's hard for me to even have the energy or time to think about much else.
Well, you had the energy or time to author some pretty wise words from Kung Fu Panda before one of the games that went viral recently. So I'm wondering, in the pantheon of kids' movies that you've seen as a dad now for a while, what is Kirk Cousins' favorite kids' movie that he's had to watch?
Okay, so I got a really good one for you. And I don't even know if you'd call this a kids movie or not, but we're flying to one of our preseason games, and I put on Little Giants, just saying, hey, let's check it out. It's 25 years old. Let's go check it out. I was laughing out loud in the coach seat I was in on the plane, just dying with every line. I mean, every single line was getting me, because I think partly because playing football, you just know the dynamic, the culture, and the jokes just mean more. But that movie is tremendous. And when my boys are old enough to see it, that will be a must watch in the Cousins household.
Oh, absolute classic comedy for sure for football guys. No doubt about it. And speaking of your kids, I was fortunate to play long enough where Mike was 4 and my son Jake was 3 when they finished. As you mentioned, yours are 6 and 4. So how has it been kind of having them involved and being around it? Just how cool that's been as a dad.
Yeah, I got to ask Mike Jr. because one of my biggest goals when we had kids, I told my wife, I want to play long enough where they can remember it, have been a part of it, and really, when I retire, be able to have taken it all in. So we're just starting to get there now. My older son is 6 this fall, and he can go to the games and know what's going on a little bit, but it's still, he doesn't quite know what dad does for a living. So, I got a few more years I got to play, and then I think my boys will have some pretty special memories.
Well, you'll have it better than me because Mike always said his favorite players were Jerome Brown and Clyde Simmons and Reggie White and not me. So at least your kids probably at least think you're,
believe me, my boys prefer Justin Jefferson far more than they prefer dad.
There we go. Got to work on the gritty at some point there and see if you can win them back there. But Kirk, speaking of kids, we know you're here on behalf of a really important cause with Cause for Alarm, the program with Kidda. What can you tell us about what they got going on?
Yeah, so Kidda builds fire detection equipment that's in most of our homes, and they're doing a campaign right now. They call it Cause for Alarm campaign. They've written a jingle that's titled Beeps That Last, Get Out Fast. And so it's just important to alert people to the importance of their fire detection equipment. And unfortunately, the NFPA has found that 70% of homes, their equipment is not up to date, and therefore it may not do the job in an emergency. And so it's something that's not on the top of our minds when we wake up in the morning, but it needs to at least be addressed in our homes with batteries being checked and equipment being checked to make sure that in the event of a fire, we have what we need to protect our loved ones. So that's the campaign, and we're just trying to get the word out the best we can.
Hey, listen, it's something you hope you never have to use, but are happy that it's there when you need it. And the best thing about that is they have a jingle, because jingles are the best.
Jingles are hard to beat. I didn't get to write this one. I told them if I come back for the next year of the campaign, I'd like to contribute to the songwriting as well. But they did a pretty good job in my absence. And like you said, jingles are helpful to kind of educate and make sure everybody remembers what they need to do in the event of a home fire.
I was going to say they should know that Kirk Cousins was a part of the script writing, as we've seen in all the ads for the NFL this season. So he's got a great background ready for all that stuff. Kirk, we can't thank you enough for the time, man. Best of luck the rest of this season. Hopefully we'll get to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, great catching up with you guys. Thank you.